Good morning, my lovely friends, and happy Monday. It is the 10th of August. I hope you're all doing really well. I have finally got a day of work. I have just been such a busy bee, just working and working and working and working and working. And so finally this week I have a couple of days off just to sort of get my life back together and say hello to you guys. Sorry that I have been a little bit quiet on the old YouTubes. As I just said, I've just been working so much and I've just had no time for anything. But this week I've set myself a goal to vlog my week as much as I can and to just update life with you guys and say hi. First thing I need to do this morning is I need to find somewhere to put these guys. I made my Mickey and Minnie Lego a couple of weeks ago now, I think. I honestly can't remember. All of the days and weeks are all sort of blending together. But I made them a while ago. And now I need to find somewhere to put them. I am thinking of putting them on my bookshelf that I showed you, I think, in my last vlog of all of my collectibles. I have my Mickey and Minnie Mouse shelf here, but I know that they're not going to fit there. So I'm thinking of maybe putting them up high here. I'm possibly going to get rid of my Adventure Time pops. I think they'll be good there. And they'll also be away from prying little hands of my niece and nephews when they come into my room and look and touch everything. So that's what I'm going to do now. And then I'm going to do some sewing. Because I have not touched my sewing machine in, it feels like, forever. I have been making a few masks. I actually have a few face masks to finish today, but I've just been sort of making real basic ones like this for when I need them, when I go out and about. When I go out and about, I don't often really go out and about. The only time I ever leave home is to go to work, and work supplies face masks, and they're just a lot easier to wear. But anyway, we're going off on a tangent. I'm going to clear this shelf and put these awesome little figures up. I did really enjoy making these. I think they're really cool. I wasn't sure whether I liked them at first, but I think they are pretty cool. Mickey, on the other hand, is very wobbly. I don't know whether you can see just like how wobbly he is. So that's why I kind of want to put him up high so he doesn't like fall over or something. Let's do Mickey first. We'll put him out there. It's just so wobbly. Off you go, mate. Now for Minnie. There we go. They are up really high, but I'm okay with that. They look cool up there. Nice. Okay, we're moving on to making some face masks. I have been using the tutorial from the Missouri Quilt Star Company, and it's just a really basic like folded mask. I don't have one to show you because the two that I sort of use the most or like the most, they're in the wash. But once I've made the ones that I'm going to make today, I'll obviously show you what they look like. I have made a couple for my brother the other night for him to take to work, my oldest brother Kevin. I now have another two to make for my sister-in-law, and then I'm making myself another two because I either use like the fabric masks or the ones that work supplies when I'm at work working. So I'm just going to add a couple more to my own supply. Now when I'm making my masks, there are so many different ways that you can make them. There are so many different opinions. People are being really quite strict about it. I'm gonna put you down because my arm was hurting. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can make a mask, and I think anything is better than nothing. If you want to do 2 layers of a cotton fabric, that's great. If you want to do 3 layers of a cotton fabric, that's great. If you want to have like an outer layer that is waterproof, that is up to you. I think as long as you just have something covering your face, your nose and your mouth, then that's fine, whatever. I'm not a health professional, but this is what I'm doing. This is what I feel safe doing. I'm okay with this level of 2 layers together, but it's up to you what you want to do for your own safety. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just using 2 layers of 100% cotton fabric. I find even with just those 2 layers, it can be quite hard to, not quite hard, but it, you know, breathing can be difficult. You can still breathe, but it's just like not breathing normal air, of course. Now the measurements that I'm using are kind of the same as the Missouri Quilt Style Company one. I have altered it a little bit for the female face. I've just taken 1/2 inch off the measurements, because I just find that the measurements that they gave, it was just a bit too like big and bulky on my narrow face. The measurements that I'm using for both male and female masks I'll leave below, and I'll also leave a link to the Missouri Quilt Style Company tutorial that I'm sort of following. The masks that I make are super easy, really quick, really basic, and yeah, easy to wear. So the ones that I'm making for myself and for my sister-in-law Amy, they're both exactly the same. I'm doing one with this gorgeous little bird print and a pink backing, and then we both like Minnie Mouse, so I'm doing a Minnie Mouse one for her and for also myself. Let's get them done. These have been sitting on my sewing room table for the last week and a half. As you can see, I have cut them all out, pinned them all together. They're just ready to sew up. It's just that step I just didn't get to. So yeah, let's get into it. I also have to say, I have this this woolen jumper that I wear all the time. It's one of my favorites, and it's shrunk in the wash. So it's still like wide and baggy, which I really like because it's super comfy. But the sleeves have shrunk, so and it's also gotten a lot shorter, and I'm like, no, I love this jumper, but I just sort of have to like adjust myself every now and then because it's shrunk. But anyway, it is what it is. It's still warm and cozy and lovely, and does the job of keeping me warm, but it's just annoying when the sleeves come out the end. Masks are all done. These two are for Amy and these two are for me, so I'm not going to try them on. I'll possibly wash them before I give them to her, but these two are the ones I've got for me, and we'll do a little demonstration to show you what they look like. I just go in like that, put them up. I have to sort of put it up under my glasses so they don't fog up, but that's it. Super simple. I find cutting them at this size, they just sort of mold my face a lot better, and they sit comfortable, and they're sort of tight without being tight, and then also tight up around my nose so my glasses don't fog up. Let's try the other one. Ta-da! Oh, and she looks lovely too. Nice. So again, hugs my face nice and lovely. Covering my chin, mouth and my nose, and I can tuck it up so my glasses don't fog up. So happy days. I'll add them to my stash and wear them when I need to. What's the time? It's midday. I think we're gonna have some lunch because I had an early start to the day today, so I'm feeling a little bit peckish. So I'll have some lunch, and then I don't know, I've got a whole afternoon to myself. I don't know what to do with myself. It always happens when I sort of like have all of these days at work and then I finally have a day off, I'm like, oh, what do I do? What do I do with my day? What do I do with my time? I don't know. So we'll figure that out as I have lunch, but yay, masks are done. I'm happy. Happy. Good morning, my friends, and happy Tuesday. It's the 11th of August. I made sure to look at the date before I started vlogging because I can never remember what the date is. I have happily another day off work, so I am choosing to spend the day in my sewing room, and I'm going to start a new project today. I have so many new projects on the go that I've started. I've actually started vlogging the process and just went out the window because I've been working so much. So I'm going to start a new one when I really shouldn't, but I want to. I'm in that mood, and I'm going to try my very hardest to make it a priority and to actually finish it. There is also a really great sort of goal with this quilt, and it is to use up all of my, well, not all of them, but to use up most of my scrap fabrics because I have a lot, and it is an issue that I need to address and I need to do something about. There's just bits of fabric everywhere, and I'm such an awful hoarder of like tiny little scraps of fabric that I know that I could do something with. So yeah, I think this quilt is going to turn out to be a really great scrap buster. I wanted to do like a scrap busting quilt with like that pineapple design quilt that I showed you all the way back in May, but I think it's just going to take a little bit too long, and because I'm quite sort of tight with my time and my schedule, I think it's just going to take a little bit longer, whereas this idea is really quick. It is inspired by a quilt along that is happening on Instagram at the moment. It's called My Summer something or other. I'm not going to be joining the quilt along because I don't have time to, so I'll just sort of watch it in the background and just sort of do my own thing, but I am inspired by it. If I can find the hashtag to it, I will put it up on the screen. So the quilt along is called hashtag Scrappy Summers AL 2020. It's on the screen, and it's hosted by at the Homebody Company and at the Weekend Quilter, who I follow, and she's awesome. So that is a quilt along that's happening through Instagram, but as I mentioned, I'm not actually going to be joining in. I'm just going to sort of be inspired by that quilt along and do my own thing in my own time. So if you want to check that out, then all of the details are there. So yeah, I was inspired by that, and I'm like, that is such a great idea to just get all of my scrap stuff done. So essentially what they're making in the quilt along is this sort of plus quilt, but it's using all of your scraps and putting in color coding type thing. So I'm going to do something similar with my scraps for my quilt and see what happens. I love the idea of doing like an ombre rainbow type quilt. I've always wanted to sort of do one, so we'll see what happens, I guess. So I'm going to get out all of my scraps and cut squares at, I'm not sure whether 2 inch or 2.5. I quite like 2.5 to then to have a finished 2 inch sort of square, and you just sew all of your squares into a 9-patch block with a cross in the middle of it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull out all of my scraps because there's a lot. I had 2 tubs. It's also not as much as some, but it's a lot for me. Also, don't mind the washing machine going off in the background. It's a homey day, and I need all my clothes washed for work because I go back to work tomorrow. Haha, fun. So, I'm just going to move this down a bit. Let's get some of the fabrics out. I have a nice little pile that I'm hoarding here. I have all, we're overflowing, we're falling out. I have a big tub here full of fabrics, and there's lots of like little scraps and things. It's just like fully jam-packed, squashed. Oh my goodness, I haven't got this out in ages. There's this one. That is a pair of pants that I haven't worn in ages. Okay. And then there's this one. This is full of like more strippy scraps, so like long scraps like this that I thought, oh, maybe I could do like a string quilt with or something. I don't know. It's also got like selvages from all my beautiful fabrics that I just love, like Liberty, and I've got one here from Cotton and Steel black and white collection when I had, like, this is the sort of stuff I hoard and I can't get rid of. Like, I don't want to let it go because it's just such good, like, little bits, you know. It's terrible. So I'm gonna go through some of this stuff. I might pop it in some color sort of piles and see what happens. Is this a bad idea? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm gonna put like aside like white and creamy bits for like the background fabric, and then obviously in color sort of like blocks or color piles, and we'll see how we go. Eek. What am I getting myself into? Oh dear. Well, that was a mission. This is what we have been left with. These are the piles of fabric that I think will work. I possibly won't use all of these fabrics, so half of them will possibly go back into my scrap collection, but I will try to make the most of that when I start cutting it all up and stuff. This is my second bag of rubbish. I was really quite ruthless with getting rid of things I don't need, and these are our scrap tubs. Tidied up somewhat, even though they don't look tidy, but they are. So this is the box I usually use for my bigger sort of scraps, and I usually sort of like leave this for like hexies and these sorts of types of projects. And then this tub is like all of my long strips, and long strips are all in this bag as well. This is my pile of all my white background fabrics I'll use. This stuff just needs to go away. It's all just solids, and I found these beautiful satin fabrics that I never knew I had. So now that I've sort of accomplished that first hurdle, now it is time to sort, press and cut all of my pieces. I have no idea how much I need to cut because I'm not following a pattern. I'm just going off what's inside my head. So I don't know. I'm gonna have some lunch and figure it out. I have a feeling this is going to be a lot bigger than what I thought it was going to be. The idea seemed really great in my head, but now that I've sort of like gotten everything out and I've sorted it, I realized, oh my gosh, this is a lot bigger than what I thought it was really going to be like. Although in saying that, I now do feel a little bit better now that things are sort of semi-organized and that I've sort of gone through my scraps and I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff that just so unnecessary. Like I had like little tiny little scraps in, I don't know why I thought I needed to use them, but anyway, it is what it is. So it's a little later on in the afternoon and I think I've come up with a way I'm going to tackle this. First I'm going to sort out all of my white squares because I'm going to need a lot. And then I think I might do it like one pile at a time, like complete blocks, one color at a time. I think that will work the best. I don't know. I think that is the best way to tackle it. But I'm going to think about it more while I sort out all of my white squares. I'm really looking forward to actually doing a little bit of ironing and pressing because it's actually quite cold today and my fingers are cold, so doing a little bit of ironing slash pressing I find always warms up the digits. Better get some water in my iron from the right setting, so let's do some pressing. Across something very exciting and very nostalgic. I just started pressing this piece of fabric and saw on the back it had a ruler line here. It's got a pencil line marked here at the bottom. It's really hard to see, but there's a nice pencil, but there's a pencil line down here and it's marked with a number 1. And this is a piece of fabric that I used in my very first quilt many years ago. For my first quilt I didn't use a rotary blade or a rotary cutter. I measured it all out and marked it up using pencil and then cut out all of the pieces, and this is just a little remnant that I had of that quilt, and it just brought back so many lovely memories of making my first quilt and just thinking of just how far I've come from making my first quilt to discovering a scrap from it. It's amazing. I just thought I'd share that with you. So I think that's pretty cool that will be using a scrap of fabric from my very first quilt in my next quilt. I just thought that was really cool. I thought I'd share it, so. Oh my gosh, the car goes better when there is keys in the ignition. Just wondering what's happening. Whoa! Oh my gosh, it's so bright today. Good morning, my lovely friends, and happy Thursday. It is I don't have my watch on, so I don't know what the day is, but it's on the screen. Is it the 12th today? I don't know, all the days are sort of blending in and merging, and I can never remember what the day is. I have the day off work again today, which is nice. So I'm vlogging the day. I'm currently about to head out to the supermarket. I need to just buy a few essentials. I have work the next 3 days, so I need to get like food for work because the day always just goes so much better when I know that I have some good food in my lunchbox when it is lunchtime. So I need to go out and grab a few things. I do have a mask with me. I will be wearing my mask when I go into the supermarket. I also have some hand sanitizer when I need to come back into the car. Actually, I might put some on now. It never hurts to put some on. So that's what I want to do this morning, get it over and done with, because I hate going out to the shops at the moment. Like, I think I mentioned this the other day, the only time I ever leave the house is just to go to work. And at work we're super safe, super cautious. It is mandatory that we wear masks at work. We have hand sanitizing stations everywhere, so we can, and we're encouraged to sanitize our hands as much as we can. So yeah, I feel safe at work because there are safe practices. We have PPE equipment, and I can sort of handle it, and I have a routine going on. So I'm okay with that, but it's just going into other environments that I'm not 100% sure on, because cases have really been growing here in Australia, especially down in Victoria. I haven't really talked very much about it, but yeah, things are just sort of at the cusp of getting out of control here in Australia. So yeah, it's not as bad as other countries, I must admit, but at the same time you got to really be careful about just what you're doing and personal hygiene and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, it's just how the world is at the moment, and you just got to go along for the ride and do what you can to protect yourself and your family and the people around you. This afternoon I think we might do some sewing. I didn't sew at all on Tuesday. I didn't vlog yesterday because I was at work. But yeah, I started my Scrappy cross quilt thing. I don't know what to call it, but I only just did pressing and cutting. I didn't actually do any sewing, so I would like to try and get a couple of blocks sewn today, just so I can sort of see if this idea is going to work before I end up cutting more stuff, because that's always what happens. I sort of get so excited about an idea and I cut it all up, and then I sort of start doing it and I'm like, actually I'm not really quite into this, and then I move on to something else. We'll get a couple of blocks done today and see if this is a project that it can go somewhere and is worth the time, because it's going to take a while. I never knew how like super scrappy quilts could take up so much time. But anyway, let's get the day started. It's just gone 11 o'clock in the morning, so let's get the day going. Let's get going. As I sit here still just watching the traffic. Well, anyway, let's go. I'm sporting Minnie Mouse today. Let's see how she goes. Okay, I know it doesn't look like I've gone anywhere, but successful shopping trip. Take this off now. Oh, it's actually quite a warm day today. Over the last couple of days, what did I do with my keys? I just put them back in my bag. Thank goodness. The last couple of like days, it's been really cold and rainy, and today it's really quite warm, and I'm regretting my choice of skivvy and jumper clothing choice. But anyway, what an obnoxious alarm. Anyway, this is my third time sanitizing my hand in the last hour, so I think I am definitely doing okay. Now that that little chore is over and done with, let's go home. I'm going to open the windows because it's hot. I gotta be honest, I am so surprised that there isn't as many people wearing masks. I mean, wearing masks isn't mandatory. It's mandatory for people who are working in retail, but it's not, what is it? It's preferred or strongly recommended to wear a mask if you're out in public at the moment, and there's a lot of people who are not wearing masks, and it's really quite off-putting. I mean, like, what are they thinking? Are they not taking things as seriously as they really should be? I don't know. It's hard to tell. But let's go. Good afternoon. Looky, 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 looky. I've just been doing this for the last half hour or so. Been in the zone, and I realized I totally forgot to vlog it. Oh my gosh. Oopsies. But that's what I've done so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks, and they came together so quickly. So this is the kind of vibe we're going for. I've just done the oranges first because I didn't have as many squares cut. I think orange is maybe like my least used color in my quilting practice. But now I'm going to do the yellows and sort of fill in this sort of corner. And then from there, we'll sort of start filling it with, I think the next color will be like pink, reds, purples. I think, I don't know, I do have a colour wheel somewhere. I might have a look at that and see how the colours are actually supposed to go. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really cool project, and it's going to be one of those things where I can just quickly pop into my sewing room, do a couple blocks when I feel like it, and add to the wall, and yeah. So I'm just gonna keep cracking on. I'm in the zone, in the mood, so we're just gonna keep going and see how far I can get with doing as many blocks as I can. When I'm piecing, I'm not doing anything spectacular. It's just a really basic 9-patch square. So here's my little example. This is the yellow one I just did. This is actually a really good example to show you that I'm not just using like plain white sort of background fabric. I'm also using like ones that are like white on white, and they're different sort of values or colors. So I'm not just using white, I'm also using like printed stuff and creams and things like that, just to sort of get rid of stuff out of my stash, which is the whole point of making this quilt. So yeah, just really simple piecing, simple pressing, and they're coming together so quickly. So happy days. I cannot think of any better thing to do to spend a Thursday afternoon but sewing. I'm very happy. Yay! What a great afternoon of sewing I have just had, and I really needed it. Look how many blocks I got done. I did all the yellows for the corners, the oranges, and I actually started on 2 red blocks. So I think I'm really happy with that, and the way that's all sort of blending in with each other. I did find a colour wheel in my stash of things. So following this, the way that it needs to go is yellow, orange, red, pink, purple, blue, green, and then I think into the black, greys and blacks, I think, because I've got a lot of black to do. So I am pretty excited to keep going on with this. It's been a while since I've had a project where I've been really quite excited for it, and I can actually see the end of it, or it coming to an end, actually finished and stuff like that. So I'm so happy. Hooray for a good sewing session. So it's getting a bit later in the afternoon, so I think I'm going to make myself a cup of tea and just wind down for the day. Before I do that, we all need to say hello to Trolley. He's here at the window looking at me. Here he is. Hello, don't go shy. Hello, puppy. Are you right, lovey? What's that noise? What's that noise, puppy? Hello, you want to come in? Do you want to come in? Yeah? You want to come in and cuddle? Yeah. Aww. It's usually around this time of the afternoon that he comes in for the evening. So that's why he's hanging around the window, because he wants to come in and cuddle and play with his indoor toys. It's a bit of a kerfuffle getting him inside at the moment because it's been raining so much. Our backyard is an absolute swamp. It is so muddy and wet, so he's covered in mud, so we need to wipe him down. But he gets very excited, so I have to go and do that before we let him in. Hello my friends, and happy Saturday. It is actually late in the night. Well, it's not really that late, it's like just gone 8:30, and I thought I'd come in and do a little bit of sewing tonight. I have had a very long day at work, but I'm in the mood to do some sewing. I've been thinking about this project for the last 2 days. I think I worked on it on Thursday, but then I worked all day yesterday and then all day today, and I've just been thinking about it the whole time. It's been a while since I've had a project that sort of really inspired me like this, so I thought I'd just come in and have a really nice, cozy Saturday night and do a little bit of sewing. My feet are killing me at the moment, but I'm gonna power through and just get into my happy zone, into my happy place, and just do some sewing. Whether that just be just one block or a couple of blocks, I don't know. It really depends on how I feel and how much I want to do, really. I think a little bit of sewing therapy after a couple of very mentally and physically draining days with one more ahead, I'm at work again tomorrow, is just what I need. So we will do that. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna at least do, I'm thinking at least 2 more red squares. We'll put one here and then another one up here, so we sort of complete that row. And then from there, I'm not sure whether to put another red one here and then another red one there, and then start on, is it pink? I did refer to my colour wheel the other day, so yeah, it's pink after the red, I think. Hang on, am I reading that right? We're going anti-clockwise. Yeah, so we're starting with yellow and then going into orange and then into red, then into pinks and then purples, blues and then greens, and then I think the dark colours at the end. So we'll see how that goes. I have a big huge pile of pink fabrics here that hopefully I can sort of condense down a little bit, and then a huge pile, just behind you, of blue that hopefully I can condense down a little bit too. I didn't manage to use all of my yellow, so I don't know whether to even just make that corner a little bit bigger, but then I don't have a lot of orange scraps and I don't really want to cut into any like meterage. These are all the orange squares I have left, so I have enough to maybe do one more block. Maybe I'll just keep it as it is, because otherwise it's just going to get really big and out of hand. But anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get sewing. So it's a couple of hours later. I didn't film anything, but ta-da! Can you see the difference? I've added a few more blocks. I'm very happy with it. I think it looks really good. It looks awesome on the camera. I did a few more red squares and then I actually started doing some pink as well. So I've done 2, 4, 6, 7 or 8 blocks tonight. They are so easy to sew together. As I mentioned, they're just a really simple 9-patch block, and I think if I hadn't have worked today and the fact that I also need to go to bed to get ready for work tomorrow, I would have just kept sewing and sewing and sewing and sewing, because they're so easy to make, and like you can just sort of like switch off kind of thing, and that's just something that I really needed today or tonight, just to get lost in some sewing and just, yeah, relax. So I am so happy with the result. It's going to be a big quilt, I think. I don't know, but it's gonna look awesome, I think. Hopefully. I don't know. It is, oh my gosh, it's 11 o'clock. So I've been sewing for the last 2.5 hours. Yeah, 2.5 hours. Yeah, something like that. Time just literally flew by. So I'm just going to clean up my space a little bit, because I always need to do that after a sewing session. Get rid of my rubbish, pick up all my pins, and just leave the place somewhat tidy-ish. And I think I'm going to now toddle off to bed. Thanks for joining me this evening, even though I didn't show you any of my actual sewing process. I do, however, want to share with you a couple of my favourite blocks. The first one is this one with the gorgeous little pear in the middle. It is super cute. I also really like this one too. I tried to use just all cotton and steel fabrics, but I didn't have enough, so I just had to use this gingham fabric. I purposely kept the selvages on because I love the selvages of the cotton and steel fabrics. I obviously love this one because it's got all the little London bits in it, and I also really like this one with the little fox in the centre. So the next time I get around to sewing, I'm just going to do a couple more pink blocks, and then we'll be moving on to purples. So I'm going to end this vlog here. I hope you're all having a lovely weekend. I will try my best to do a little bit more vlogging next week because I sort of have the same kind of schedule. So I will definitely keep you updated with what's going on here. And yeah, I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye!